what's up guys? Welcome to another Despwns review. So today I'll be talking all about A Link Between Worlds, the first original Zelda game to come out for the Nintendo 3DS. And pretty much the only reason I got a 3DS in the first place. Yeah, no, literally, I did not get a 3DS for any other reason than this game. So the real question is this game worth buying a 3DS for, or did I just spend $300 of hard-earned money I can't get back by breaking pots? So what originally started as a Link to the Past reboot for the 3DS has evolved into A Link Between Worlds, a revisit to the 2D world you visited in A Link to the Past. So in the story you play as a young Link who is a blacksmith's apprentice in the land of Hyrule. And I know what you're thinking, and yes, he is much cooler than Will Turner, the blacksmith's apprentice from Pirates of the Caribbean. Just a personal side note. As soon as the game begins and as soon as Link wakes the fuck up, you are given a sword to give to the captain of the guard, but of course shit does not go right and you end up getting thrust into your very first dungeon. Thrust! I love that word. That's a good word. I use it often. Not the word, the actual action. I personally love that you are immediately put into the action of the story. There's no naggy fairy telling you what to do or saying, "Hey, listen!" You are all alone in this game, which is just really refreshing because it just emphasizes the adventure of the story without telling you how to press buttons and where to go because it's all up to you. So soon after the first dungeon, Link meets a creepy motherfucker named Yuga who can turn people into paintings for some fucking reason. As you probably guessed, Link gets turned into a painting himself but has the ability to move around in two-dimensional space using an item. Zelda then gets captured by Yuga and it is up to Link to save her once again. And once again, Zelda leaves Link with blue balls. You're cool, Zelda. You're cool. Also, some of the bad guys become paintings on the wall of Hyrule Castle, and I can't help but to feel terrible for these guys that are trying to clean them off the wall, because they're literally human beings. You can't clean them off the wall. I mean, you'd think they would notice after 3 hours of scrubbing this fucking painting that it's not coming off, but nope, they're there for like the whole game. You can come back and visit, they're still scrubbing. Anyways, that's irrelevant to this review, but you merging into the wall plays a pretty big role in almost every dungeon you enter, and eventually allows you to travel between Hyrule and the mirrored dimension of Hyrule called Lorule. Oh, I get it! Hyrule and Lorule! It's not funny, Nintendo. But in Lorule, you have to save all the sages that were turned into paintings by Yuga so you can stop his dastardly plot. In Lorule, you'll encounter Princess Hilda, the black-haired Princess Zelda of this dimension, who explains to you that Lorule is a shitty place and she needs your help to fix it. Another huge change to the normal formula of a Zelda game is the method in which you find and use items in this game. Early on in the game, you are visited by a rabbit-eared guy named Ravioli. Oh, just Ravio, my bad. Who basically just decides to move into your house and turn your entire house into a shop. Other than clearly an asshole, Ravio is the main source in which you get items in the game, from the hookshot to the bow to the Megaton hammer. You can rent each of these items for a few rupees from his shop. The only bad part is if you die, Ravio's pet hummingbird comes down and scoops up the items that you've rented and you have to go and rent them all over again. As aggravating as it is to see a less than 1 pound bird fly off with your items into the distance, you're also given the option to permanently buy each item for a little bit more money, but it stays with you on the event of your death. Admittedly, at first I hated this system because I just felt like it was breaking the mold of a normal Zelda game and I was just like, what? Later I found that I really liked it because it's easy and more importantly, it gives you a sense of importance to the rupees that you actually find. In older Zelda games, you had almost no reason to collect rupees besides maybe playing mini games and collecting small items from shops. This system forces you to watch your rupee count and constantly has you running after every rupee that drops from an enemy. It also makes dying much more of an asshole when you lose your item, which can provide an extra challenge to the overall gameplay. Like, you might be tempted to just rent every item at the beginning of the game, but oftentimes you only really need one item specific to a dungeon, and sometimes you don't need any items at all. So how you rent and buy items from Ravio is a strategy in and of itself, and how well you play the game. Because if you're anything like me and you die every 4 fucking seconds, then you'll probably not want to rent items from him. Just go with the buy it now option. During the course of the game, you run into a giant octopus creature who, after finding all of her children, will upgrade your items to do nasty ass shit like fire 3 arrows at a time or make your bomb radius huger. Is huger a word? Well, it is now. One of the very rewarding things in this game for attention-detailed nerds like myself is that there's a lot to do to make your guy a fucking badass. Finding tunics, finding ore to increase your sword damage, upgrading all your items, getting the Pegasus boots, and of course heart pieces are are just some of the things that you do in this game to make your guy a fucking BA. Not to mention there's mini games that will just help you pass the time whenever you're bored and give you cool special items whenever you do them. Also, instead of collecting arrows and bombs and magic, there is one universal energy meter that depletes itself after every time you use an item, which just makes it really nice because you never run out of bombs or arrows. You just have to wait till the energy meter regenerates itself before using the item again. And because nearly every item is available to you at the beginning of the game, the way in which you do dungeons is almost completely up to you as well. You can decide to start at whatever temple you want rather than the traditional forest temple, fire temple, water temple that Zelda games usually employ in all of their games. That is until you get to low rule and some of the areas are blocked off and you have to unlock and do shit and it's just stupid. Fuck low rule, man, fuck it! The dungeons of this game are very similar in many ways to A Link to the Past. Some of the same puzzles can be found in certain dungeons, some of the same bosses, but each dungeon that you play in is dank as fuck, super fun and challenging in different ways. Bosses are fun, tricky little fuckers that may have you tempted to throw your DS across the room, but it's nothing a couple of fairies and bottles to revive you can't fix. Some of the bosses are more fun than others, obviously, some more challenging, but I can say that none of the dungeons and bosses in this game are boring and repetitive. You do have to beat Yuga like 900 times, but they make it fun to shit on that little weirdo's chest. Other than those things, the gameplay of A Link Between Worlds is just very simple and what you'd come to expect from a portable Zelda title. As far as the graphics go, Link Between Worlds is definitely a giant step up from A Link to the Past, especially when you're using the 3D feature, which if you're weary about is actually very fun and useful in this game, especially in dungeons with different heights and multiple levels to it. And in very many ways, the 3D actually just really improves the quality of the game, making you feel more immersed into it. So if you're like, but the 3D hurts my eye, just shut the fuck up and do it. Also, little side note, playing this game on a 3DS XL just makes it so much more enjoyable because honestly, when I'm playing a game on a tiny like little 3DS screen, I feel like I can't take the game that seriously. So when you're playing this game, it definitely helps to play it on the biggest screen that you possibly can because again, you just feel totally immersed into the game itself. Not telling you to go spend more money, but if you have a DS XL, it is so great. The only part of The Link Between Worlds that seems repetitive is the story in the beginning of the game. Collect the red, green, blue artifacts, unlock some secret power, fucking find the Master Sword, then some asshole revives Ganon for the 400th fucking time, kidnap Zelda, then you have to go save some sages, blah 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 blah, you know the drill. All I can really say is that yes, it does feel similar to many other Zelda games, but it isn't without its differences and plot twists that make you say, oh fuck. The music of A Link Between Worlds is also recycled from other Zelda games, but in a good way. The nostalgia when you're roaming through Hyrule and you hear that awesome music, or going into Kakariko Village and the Ocarina of Time themed Kakariko Village music plays, there is not a lot you can do to contain the feels you get. There are of course new compositions to older songs and of course newer songs for like dungeons and bosses and whatnot, so it doesn't feel completely mimicked from older Zelda games. In short, I will say A Link Between Worlds is a perfect handheld Zelda title. You can play this game wherever, whenever, and best of all, you aren't bored to shit when you're playing it. It's easy to get into, hard to put down when you do. The only complaints I could really give is its similarities to A Link to the Past, but completely forgivable because that was originally what it was supposed to be anyway. The 3D is excellent, the story explodes your mind at the end, the characters are marvelous and awesome, the items are all really fun and easy. There's nothing I could really say that would put a bad mark on this game. That said, I think I'm going to give A Link Between Worlds a 9.0 out of 10. Definitely check out this game if you can. I definitely feel like I did not waste my time and money getting this game. Just be warned when you play. Don't hit the chickens. Just don't do it. Mass murdering chickens are still on the rampage in the land of Hyrule. Be on your guard, adventurer. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave your comments below saying a game that you want to see me review, and maybe your comment will be picked to be in the next Despwns review. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.